Why do we keep returning to things we already know hurt us? Sometimes it's a person. Sometimes it's a memory we keep replaying. Sometimes it's an argument we continue having in our own head long after the other person has left the room. And sometimes it's a pattern that feels so familiar that we mistake familiarity for belonging. So today we're going to use tarot to ask, what keeps pulling me back into the same painful pattern? There are 3 cards in front of us. You can have 1, 5 of Wands, 2, the Star, and 3, the 6 of Cups. So your card will show you what is keeping the cycle alive. Even if you don't know what the card means, you're going to look at it and go, I'm drawn to that one. We're going to look at crystals, if that will help you pick. If the card's not doing it for you, we're going to look at your zodiac sign. You can use your sun, moon, rising. Maybe you're going to use 2 or 3. And each one's going to give you a little bit more information. But what we're really asking is, why do you keep returning to what hurts you? So let's look at card 1. That's the 5 of Wands. And this is, there you go. That's an amethyst with a hematite layer. The Star has this, and that is a bronze pyrite. And the 6 of Cups, nope. There you go. That's a quartz. That might help you. If you know their energies of that, that might draw you in. So if you're going for card 1, these might help. We have Gemini and Scorpio and Aries and Cancer. Card 2, you might be drawn if you're a Leo or a Sagittarius or Aquarius or a Taurus. And card 3, you're a Pisces or a Virgo or Libra or a Capricorn. Look at the cards and I will take a drink of coffee and we'll begin. And hi, pile 1. You might have chose this pile for the 5 of Wands, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Might be the amethyst with hematite layer. It might be these 4 somehow in there, getting you to choose this pile, some zodiac. But let's look at the 5 of Wands. Why did you pick the 5 of Wands? The 5 of Wands tells me that you picked it because you are staying in this situation because you feel that the fight is not over. You feel that there's an argument for you to win. Yeah, it might be just like jostling and stuff and fighting with everybody and but you feel that you have to prove something. And you'll fight with anybody. So now we're going to ask 3 questions because that's going to help us really get to why you're staying. Why do you keep pulling yourself back into a same painful pattern? What are you still hoping to receive from this? Why do you keep going back? It looks like you're fighting for a cause or a reason or because you want to be right, but you might be hoping to receive the Fool. What does returning to it protect you from facing? The Knight of Swords. And the third one is, what would finally break the pattern? You got 2. The 8 of Swords and Temperance. Can you guys move back? There we go. So the overall energy you picked is the 5 of Wands. So this painful pattern is being kept alive through conflict and competition and tension or the need to prove something. This may involve another person, But it could also be an internal battle. One part of you wants to walk away, while the other part still wants to win, to understand, to receive an apology, or prove that you were right. You may not be returning because you enjoy the conflict. You may be returning because the conflict still feels unresolved. And that is a real trigger for people. So if you pick that, I understand. So what are you still hoping to receive? And here's the Fool. And the Fool is saying you are hoping for a fresh start. Some part of you still believes everything could be wiped clean and begin again without the weight of what has already happened. You may be waiting for the other person to return differently, for the situation to suddenly become lighter, or for one brave leap to take you both into an entirely different chapter. So the Fool can also show that you want your innocence back. You want to believe in the possibility you saw before the fighting, the disappointment, and before all that complication, before the dark cloud. But the Fool may be revealing a blind spot. You could be treating each return as a new beginning when it is actually another round of the same pattern. You keep stepping back into it thinking, maybe this time will be different. Like, I understand that. I really do. It's like, if I have the right words, they will understand. If I have the right example, then they'll get what I'm trying to say. And the argument stops. And now we have this new level of understandings. It's that search for that right magic. I mean, it's innocent. It's like, oh, this is the only thing I need to do, and boom, we got it. No. What does returning protect you from facing? The Knight of Swords. So you keep coming back so you don't have to face something. So returning keeps you in motion. So the Knight of Swords does not sit quietly with grief, disappointment, or uncertainty. He charges forward, argues his case, searches for answers, and tries to force a conclusion. And the conflict may protect you from facing what remains when there is nothing left to fight about. As long as you are debating, explaining, defending yourself, replaying conversations, or imagining what you should have said, you do not have to accept that the situation may never provide the resolution you want. The Knight of Swords may also show a painful truth you do not want to face. Perhaps you already know the answer, but accepting it would end the argument, and ending the argument would mean letting go of the hope presented by the Fool. So, we got 2 here. So what would finally break the pattern? The 8 of Swords. It shows that the pattern is now being maintained partially through your own thoughts. That does not mean you caused the original situation. It means the conflict may continue internally even when nothing new is actually happening. You may feel trapped because you keep returning to the same interpretation, the same unanswered question, and the same imagined confrontation. Temperance says, the way out is not another dramatic push, another argument, or another impulsive fresh start. The way out is to slow everything down. You need enough distance to separate what happened from what you fear, what you know from what you assume, and what you can change from what you cannot. Temperance does not demand that you forget or forgive or pretend the conflict did not matter. It asks you to stop allowing one painful experience to dominate your entire emotional system. So the 8 of Swords says the door may always be open, but you will not see it while your mind remains trapped in the battle. Pile 1, your deeper message is the 5 of Wands keeps you fighting. The Fool keeps you hoping for a clean new beginning. The Knight of Swords keeps you chasing an answer or trying to win the argument. And the Temperance and the 8 of Swords says the pattern ends when you stop trying to fight your way free and begin questioning the thoughts that keep returning to you in the battlefield. This is a pattern of conflict, competition, and unresolved tension. You may keep returning because some part of you still feels there is something to prove, something to win, and something that might finally be understood. Let's look at some extra things. Arguing because you have a point, or you want to express yourself, or you have something to say is so hard. And no one's listening. No one understands. Any more? Any more? Any more? Okay, that's good. Let's see what we got. This one came up, so this is most important. The lesson repeats until you claim it. You understand that. You see where that's going. Healing isn't gentle, it's honest. What feels heavy is what you refuse to release. Right? Always being ready to battle is really heavy. And unease sharpened your instinct. Yeah. Each time you returned to that battle, each time you thought you had a better argument, each time you said, okay, I'm going to defend my answer, I'm going to make you understand, it's sharpening you because you keep thinking of different ways to attack that argument. But that's a lot of energy. And it's getting heavy because you're not getting anywhere. So you need to be honest with what is happening here. Because you're going to continue to have that argument until you realize that maybe that's not where you need to be. The pattern will not be broken through another confrontation, another impulse return, or another attempt to force an answer. You got to slow down and separate what you know from what you fear. What happened from what you continue imagining, and what belongs to you from what belongs to someone else. And you might be continuing a lot of this in your own thoughts. Like it's really taking so much energy because you're putting so much thought into it, trying to get your point across, get that argument right. You're not here because you lack strength. You're here because your mind keeps returning to the same battlefield. The pattern breaks when you stop asking how to win the conflict and begin asking why you still need to remain inside it. Let's see if these have anything else to add to that, because I think it's pretty clear what's going on, why you chose this. Any more? Any more? Wow. There's a lot to say. We'll start with the one that flipped because it's telling me it's important. Trust your gut. Your heart is a beacon in fog. Follow the glow. You know this argument is never going to end. You need to stop it. Live the present. Now is the only moment that exists. Embrace it. Stop going back to that argument. Move on. Maybe fog lifts with the next tide. Well, this one, trash. I'm going to tell you, there is no maybe. You've done this. You're a pro. You're a pro at every argument. You're a pro at everything that you're saying. You're a pro. You've done this argument over and over and over. You don't need that maybe. Boo. Wait for signs. Wind carries messages. Tune your ear to whispers. Whatever works for you to get out of this cycle. If it's like you see something and you go, oh, I get it. This is going to be my forever argument if I continue. That sign, when I saw those people arguing in Tim Hortons, that's me. I see it now. I don't want to be that. That would be the best sign for you. Find company. Stars shine brighter in constellations. Oh, that's cool. Right? Get support. Get some friends. Get some different friends. Are you arguing with your friends? Are you arguing with people in your circle? And get some different friends. Get some different people. Get your mind on something else. Because what it's doing to you now is taking your energy into a place that there's no winning. Or what you do in is not going to be satisfying. It's not. So, pile 1, thank you for being here. This was, it wasn't just talking to you, it was talking to me. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you in the next video. Love you, bye. Hi, pile 2. You may have chose it because of the star, which is the energy that it's going to be for this pile. You might have chose it for the bronze pyrite. You might have chose it for your sun, moon, rising zodiac, which I'll put over here. But let's look first at why you might have chose the star. You might be returning to something that hurts you, because hope has become refusal to accept reality. Okay? There you go. But I'm going to ask 3 more questions, because it's always deeper. It's always more. It's always the situation. There's so much more always. So I'm going to pull 3 cards. We're going to pull some extra cards. We're going to do all the things. So here's the first question, the study questions for this. What are you still hoping to receive from this? What is the pull? Why do you keep going back? What are you hoping to receive by going back to something that is painful, this painful pattern? Well, we got the 3 of Wands reversed. Okay. What does returning to it protect you from facing? Why do you keep going back? There's a reason. You know it's painful. You know it's not the greatest situation or whatever it is, but you keep returning. What is it protecting you from? The Knight of Cups. I see where this is going. What would finally break the pattern? The Ace of Swords. So let's look at the overall energy and why you probably chose the star. So the overall energy is saying that you chose this pile. You're returning not only because of pain, but because of hope. The star often appears after devastation. Something has already fallen apart, disappointed you, or shown you that it could not continue in its old form. Yet part of you still believes there is healing, renewal, and a better version of this story ahead. That hope may be genuine, but it may also be what keeps the door open long after the situation has stopped moving. What are you still hoping to receive? And you got the 3 of Wands reversed. You're waiting for something that has not arrived. So the 3 of Wands upright expects progress. It sends energy outward and watches for the results to return. But reversed, the ship may be delayed, headed elsewhere, and never come back at all. You may be hoping for proof that your patience was worthwhile. You're hoping for a message, a return, a commitment, a sign of progress, a future that finally resembles what you've imagined. The difficult truth is that this may have become hope without evidence. The star believes healing is possible, but the 3 of Wands reverse asks whether you have attached that healing to one particular outcome. You may believe that you can only feel restored if this person returns, or the plan succeeds, or the future unfolds exactly how you're expecting it. You may not only be waiting for the situation, you may be waiting for it to justify everything that you have invested into it. Then the next question is, what does returning protect you from facing? So why do you keep going back? Why do you keep returning to something that is painful? Returning protects the dream. So the Knight of Cups carries the romantic vision, emotional promise, and the beautiful possibility of what this could have been. This does not mean to have to involve romance. It can be any dream you became emotionally attached to. You may keep returning because the fantasy still feels better than the reality of accepting that the promise was never fully delivered. So the Knight of Cups may also represent the version of someone who appeared in moments. They might have given you an apology that sounded sincere, a gesture that restored your hope, the emotional conversation that seemed to change everything. And sometimes maybe the promise that made you believe progress had finally begun. But a beautiful moment is not always a changed pattern. They gave you what you needed to keep you in the loop. As long as you remain emotionally attached to the promise, you do not have to face the possibility that the promise and the reality were never the same thing. Someone or some belief is keeping you in this loop because it's exactly what you want. And they're giving you enough to keep you on the hook. So what would finally break the pattern? And you have the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords cuts through hope that has become confusion. This does not mean becoming cynical. It means allowing truth to stand on its own without softening it to preserve the dream. The pattern breaks when you ask, what has actually happened, not what was promised? What evidence do I have, not what do I hope will happen? And am I responding to the person or situation in front of me or to its potential? So the Ace of Swords may bring a direct conversation, a firm decision, or a realization that changes how you see the entire situation. But its deepest message is mental clarity. Your healing does not have to depend on the ships returning. The Star keeps your faith alive. The Three of Wands reverse keeps you watching the horizon for a future that remains delayed. And the Knight of Cups keeps you connected to the emotional promise. But the Ace of Swords breaks the cycle by separating what you hoped for what has actually been shown to you. The truth may not destroy the hope. It may finally free your hope from the wrong destination. So let's look at a few more things that could give us a little more information. I think this is so straightforward. If you pick this pile, you know that you are one of these positive, hopeful little pixies. And you have this dream, you have this faith, you have this hope. But time is not going to make this better if the thing, the person, the outcome is not going to happen. Any more? Any more? We'll do it one more time. Any more? All right. Be here all day. What stalled wasn't bad luck. It was your hesitation. So you kind of know. You kind of know what's going on, and you're refusing to see it because you have hope. It wasn't a circumstance. It wasn't the conversation. It wasn't one thing that you did. It's just the truth of the situation. Exhaustion exposed the version of you that was pretending. This continued energy put into this hope might be wearing you down. You might be losing your hope, which is probably the most beautiful part about you. And so you're pretending to go on. You're pretending to say, this is all going to work out. This is all going to be good. And you're getting so exhausted. And you're seeing maybe the truth of it. And you're ignoring it. So cut that out. You tolerated what your future self would never accept. Hey, Hey, you are not a beggar. You have worth and value. You are beautiful, and you do not need to beg anybody else to see how special you are. You don't need to beg. You don't need to convince. You don't need to finally wait for someone to see you. And that younger you knows the truth of it. The older you got stuck in a pattern because you thought you could change the outcome. You asked for change. You just didn't expect the cost, right? When you see the truth, when you take that step back, I'm guessing there's going to be some pain. I'm guessing there's going to be some disappointment. I'm guessing that you're going to see some things in the light of day that makes you go, what am I doing? Right? That happens to all of us. That is not a you thing. That happens to all of us. Sadly. Anything more we can talk about? Anything more we need to see? Anything more we want to know? We got 2. Any more? No. We got 2. I'll take it. Celebrate. Joy is the echo of a soul at peace. Isn't that beautiful? When you see the truth, celebrate it. Celebrate it that you are getting out of the pattern. Celebrate that you can move on. Celebrate that you're trying to convince someone that you are good enough, that you celebrate this like someone else is going to see my value, and I am not going to be stuck begging someone to see how wonderful and beautiful I am. Celebrate that. Celebrate that you can finally say, I've put enough energy into this, and I'm going to keep the center and soul of me intact, and I'm going to walk away with my head up high and blah, blah, blah. Set boundaries. Wow, that's a big one. The garden blooms were guarded when guarded from pests. Ha! Pests. Hilarious, right? But still, how powerful is that? When you say, I won't be treated like that. When you say, I won't wait for recognition. I won't do these things that allow other people to treat me that way. Imagine how powerful that is when you stand up and say, not anymore. Not to me. Not today. Powerful. That's a powerful one. So, my little star, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for spending your time. And thank you so much for choosing this pile, because I do think the people who choose this pile have the sweetest, most beautiful heart. Thank you for being here. Love you. Bye. Hi, pile 3. So this one, you chose the 6 of Cups. Psychologically, I think you chose it because the past feels safer than the present. But we're going to go into that. And let me tell you, that's one of the wilder cards for the 6 of Cups that I've ever seen. Here we have the Quartz. And here you might have chose it for the Zodiac. I would be in that pile. So this will be interesting. Okay, so we're going to ask 3 questions. And those 3 questions are going to help us figure out why you were drawn to the 6 of Cups, to the past, something in your past. Okay? So, what are you still hoping to receive from this? Why are you repeating the same painful pattern? What are you hoping to receive by repeating this pattern? We got the 5 of Pentacles. That's very interesting. And we're going to discuss it all because I want to see the whole thing. But here we go. What does returning to it protect you from facing? So why do you keep going back? What is making it easier to go back for instead of moving on? What does it protect you from facing? The Chariot. And the third one, why? No. What would finally break this pattern? I don't mean to laugh, but that's hilarious. It's not what you think. Don't click off. And Justice. Oh my gosh. This is powerful and hilarious. But okay, let me just grab myself. So let's start with the overall energy, and that is the Six of Cups. So the pattern is rooted in the past. That's why you chose it. You may you may keep returning to a person, a relationship, a memory, a version of your life because it once represented safety and innocence and belonging or emotional familiarity. This could be someone you have known for a long time, but it could also be a newer situation that creates the old emotional pattern. So the Six of Cups can make the past feel softer than it actually was. It remembers the warmth and the promise and the meaningful moments, but it may quietly edit out the loneliness, the imbalance, or pain. So this pile may not be returning to what a situation is now. It may be returning to what it once was or what it once seemed capable of becoming. Okay, so we're going to start right off. What are you still hoping to receive? Why are you still doing it? And it's the Five of Pentacles. You are hoping to be welcomed back inside. The Five of Pentacles carries rejection, exclusion, abandonment, scarcity, and the feeling of being left outside while warmth exists somewhere beyond your reach. You may still be hoping to receive the acceptance and the security and the support or belonging that was missing. Perhaps you want someone from the past to finally recognize your value. You may want them to choose you, include you, apologize for abandoning you, or prove that you were never as disposable as their actions made you feel. This may be bigger than the current situation. The Six of Cups suggests that it could connect to an older wound, the feeling of being overlooked, left behind, or maybe to believe that love had to be earned. You may keep returning because part of you believes, if they finally let me in, it will heal the part of me that was once shut out. But the person or situation that activated the wound may not be capable of healing it. Okay? This is a heavy one. This is the heaviest one, just so you know, because history can be heavy. So what does returning protect you from facing? And that's the Chariot. Returning protects you from having to move forward without them. The Chariot represents direction and separation from the familiar and taking command of your own path. It asks you to choose where you are going rather than continuing to circle what has already happened. But moving forward creates responsibility. Once you take the reins, you can no longer wait for the past to decide your future. So the Chariot may also show that you have used strength, determination, or constant activity to avoid acknowledging how deeply the rejection affected you. You may appear independent and capable, while privately remaining tied to the hope that the old wound will somehow be corrected. Returning to the past allows you to delay the harder question. Who am I and where am I going if this person never gives me what I needed? So the Chariot says you can continue without their permission, their recognition, or return, but accepting may require grieving the fact that they are not coming with you. What would finally break the pattern? Death and justice. And I didn't mean to laugh, but these are uncompromising cards. There's no wiggle room in these. So death says something must be allowed to end completely, not paused, not left slightly open, not preserved through memory in case it becomes possible again. The old version of the relationship, the old expectation, or the identity you held within it has reached its conclusion. Death does not say the experience meant nothing. It says its meaning cannot depend on keeping it alive forever. Justice asks you to see the relationship accurately, not only through the tenderness of the Six of Cups, not only through the pain of the Five of Pentacles, but through the full record. What was given? What was withheld? Were the words supported by actions? Was the responsibility shared? Did the relationship offer mutual care, or were you repeatedly asked to carry the emotional cost? Justice breaks the pattern by replacing nostalgia with an honest accounting. It may also ask you to make a final decision based on what is fair to the person you are now, not what remains emotionally familiar to the person you once were. So the Six of Cups keeps you connected to the past. The Five of Pentacles keeps you hoping that the place that excluded you will eventually invite you inside. And the Chariot reveals that returning prevents you from fully choosing your own direction. And the Death, with Justice, says the cycle ends through finality and truth. You do not heal rejection by repeatedly returning to the door that remains closed. You heal by recognizing that you no longer need entrance into that particular place to know that you belong. Wow. So justice does not ask you to erase the good memories. That's one thing I want to make. Don't erase the good memories. It asks you to stop allowing those memories to overrule the evidence. The cycle ends when you make a decision based on what is fair to the person you are now, rather than what remains familiar to the person you once were. See, that's where we make that distinction, what you once were and who you are now. You do not heal the wound of rejection by repeatedly returning to the door that remained closed. You heal when you realize that you no longer need entrance into the place you know that you belong. So let's look at a few more cards. These are always great little brooms to sweep up a little more of the evidence in the Justice case. Evidence. There's one, two, any more? Wow, thank you. All right. Let's look at these. We got lots. You tightened control until it snapped. There we go. You thought that if you just became more valuable, you'd be more loved. You thought that if you could control things, they would see you. Right? You try to control what they thought about you, and they already had thoughts about you. And this is saying at some point that's going to snap. At some point you're going to say, look, this is me, accept me or not, right? Or not. And that's okay. That's important. That collapse, fear was holding it together. Yeah. You're afraid, possibly, that you're not good enough. You're afraid possibly they see something in you that you don't see, so you're going to fix it, and you're going to make it so that they see you the way you imagine, this is complicated, that you imagine will make it so that they will accept you, or they will. You can't change history. You can't change the past, and you're living in it, and you're still trying to defend it, and you're still trying to make it so that they will accept, or they will love you more, or they will be just with you, or they will be kind, or they will change their mind about something. And what this is saying, that's a lot of energy trying to hold that fear of rejection or fear of whatever happened, that fear that maybe if you had done something different, it would be different. There's a lot of energy in that. Confusion lingers when the choice is finally yours. You have the choice to move on. You have the choice to say you're good enough. You have the choice to say that I don't have to perform like a circus monkey to get your attention and get your approval. You don't need to get recognition from someone who made you feel unseen. The choice is yours to move on. The choice is yours to say they are not getting all of you anymore. Right? Uncertainty shattered the identity you clung to. Yeah, you probably felt less than because of the way someone treated you. You felt like you just needed to give more, do more, say more, be present more, do all these things, and something will have changed. And what you don't realize, it was them. It was something in them, not you. You are whole, you are beautiful, you are wonderful, you are worth everything that you feel they would not give you, that they rejected, that they did not give. You are worth that. And you will find people who see that worth and see that value and see that you are more than, and they want everything. They want all of you because you are enough. Don't cling to what someone else doesn't see. Clarity doesn't comfort you. It confronts you. Yeah, look at those eyes. When you finally see it, I think it's going to take your breath. And you'll go, why did I care? Why did I let this consume me? Why did I let someone else tell me my value? Why did you make that important? And when you see that you should never have given that power away, you're going to breathe this deep breath, and that power is going to fill your lungs, and you're going to say, I am whole, and I am worth all the attention, all the praise, and all the love. I will not be ignored. I will not be cast aside. And when you take that energy in you, you will move on, and they will be left behind. And you will be more present and more wonderful and more deserving than anyone else can handle. People will want to be around you because you have this energy and this presence. Because you're not going to let that wound take you to the past. You can learn from it. You can recognize it in other people and say, oh, that's a red flag. I never want to go back there. Right? Anymore? I hope you see that. That's a wound that so many people have. And you can't change the past, so don't go to the past. Anymore? No. We have one card. One card. Definitely yes. Clear Skies Guide. Stride fearless. When you get that clarity, when you break that bond, when you say, I am deserving, when you say, I deserved more, you could not give me that. When you have that, then definitely yes, you will move on. Oh, Pile 3, I really felt you here because this is my story too. So, wow. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being brave enough to pick this card because this is it's a weird freaking card. But you were drawn to it. And I thank you for being here. I hope you come to another reading and love you. Bye.